Hello and good evening. Shubha Sayantram, Subhang Chalu. I'm Navneet Anand from Bureaucrats India, and we have the very fine pleasure of having an extremely accomplished and distinguished IAS officer, Sri KVN Chakradhar Babu Garu, with us today, this evening in this BI dialogue. Bureaucrats India, as you are aware, is an independent initiative designed to celebrate stories of good governance. Over the last more than a year that we have been in existence, we have had the privilege of taking our stories, bringing out stories of good governance from across the length and breadth of the country. These are remarkable stories of good work being done by our bureaucrats, IAS, IPS, IFS, IRS, and multiple other officers who display exemplary commitment, innovation, and style in performing their duties. We thought through this platform, we shall continue to bring these good stories to celebrate democracy and also to inform citizens about the length and breadth of the kind of work that officers like Sri KVN Chakradhar Babu do. I'll request now my colleague Sweta to kindly introduce our esteemed guests for the evening. Over to you, Sweta.
Thank you, sir. Hello and welcome to another edition of Bureaucrats India Dialogue. Today we have with us a very bright officer from Andhra Pradesh, KVN Chakradhar Babu. He is a 2011 batch IAS officer and is currently posted as DM Nellore, Andhra Pradesh. He has previously been posted as ACUT Warangal, Sub-Collector, Krishna District, Commissioner, Nellore Municipal Corporation, Joint Collector, Srikakulam, JMD Finance, Aprasco. He has done remarkable work in various fields, including handling 2 waves of COVID, multiple cyclones, taking some amazing steps in field of water management. For the remarkable work that he has done, he has been bestowed with several awards, including National E-Governance Award, Award for Excellence in Public Administration by Honorable CM of Andhra Pradesh, National Award for Best District in PM Kisan for implementation of PMAGY and Adarsh Panchayats. He is a learner by passion and he holds multiple degrees. He has done his bachelor's in computer science, engineering, and holds master's degree in public policy, business law, and power management. And he'll be sharing few of the work he has done with us today. Now I request Editor-in-Chief of Bureaucrats India, Dr. Navneet Anand, he'll carry forward this interview. Dr. Navneet Anand is a communication professional and has an experience spanning 20 years in large media houses, including Indian Express, The Pioneer, Times of India, academics and corporate sector. In 2010, he established the strategic communication advisory firm, Bureaucrats Communications and Consulting. And in 2021, he founded our website, Bureaucrats India, and is currently handling the job of editor-in-chief of this website. He has doctorate from prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru University and has authored 2 books. And he will be anchoring this conversation forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sweta. Thank you, Mr. Babu, for having given us this privilege of having a conversation with you. So, computer science, public policy, business law, management. One is taking a degree, another is using this so judiciously. If I were to read out the biodata of Chakradhar Babuji, it would be such a great delight. How do you bring all these into play, Mr. Babu, as we have seen through your various postings in last over 10 years? How do you bring out the best in you and ensure that citizens benefit out of these?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Navneet ji. It's a quite elaborate introduction, and thank you so much for the good words. I always enjoy reading, and it had been my passion right from my childhood. So whenever there is some time in the school, they used to find me in the library. So that passion has taken me even now to take out some time, despite my busy schedule. And even I should also thank my supporting family and friends who allow me to pursue my academic interests. So whenever there is any good course which enthuses me, I generally do that through distance education. So after my graduation, and you must have seen, it's like 3 to 4 career opportunities which had come in my way. So after getting into IAS, and I thought this diversified field needs certain expertise. Instead of being just a journalist, I need to specialize in certain areas of administration so that my services will be better rendered to the people at large. So to tune my academic setup and to hone my skills in the administrative ground, I generally take up these courses, and it had been a kind journey till now. I could pass all these university degrees, and the power management especially is a very relevant course because the country, as we see today, is still in the phase of migration from the traditional access policy towards the quality services. When we had extensive power cuts in late 70s and 80s, now we have got one nation, one grid, and we are moving towards energy security. And that field of employment as AP Transco JMD had opened up so many vistas for me to learn on renewable energy, power sector, then oil and natural gas sector. So that specialized field of education, I thought would definitely augur well for my CV. So I had taken up this course from University of Petroleum and Energy Studies. And as expected, so many nuances are there, be it technical aspects, financial management of power purchase, or handling the entire power demand for the state. And also there are many legal implications towards the contractual obligations in the DISCOMs and Transco, along with the generators vis-a-vis many operators like Ministry of Powers, Ministry of Power, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, then Central Electricity Authority, OSOCO, and so many organizations. So such similar setup was there also in public policy. Every now and then we pass so many orders in our course of job. So I wanted my orders to be upheld by almost all the courts. Now administration has become such a overall encompassing enterprise that we deal from poverty eradication till the most sophisticated technical agreements. So wide plethora of opportunities are there. The IAS has also offered me diversified fields to work with, right from tribal welfare to remote areas, then to urban administration, then to land acquisition and rehabilitation of massive projects, execution of many projects where even thousands of people were rehabilitated. So many opportunities were there where I wanted working understanding and knowledge of law and business laws and public policy. So these are the backdrop with which I wanted to do some formal courses from universities, which has definitely had helped me, and it had made me a better officer in delivering justice to the common man, and also at the same time to pass reasonable, legal, and valid orders, which I take it as a privilege that even my orders were upheld by the apex court when there are many spate of legal litigations that were hovering around these projects. Finally, I could accomplish all those and rehabilitate around 31,000 project displaced families without any legal hassles. So my understanding and working knowledge of law, business laws, public policy issues, and the issues which are being faced by the people, especially during rehabilitation and resettlement, that has definitely made me confident and to implement effectively the new legislations, especially this right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition and resettlement and rehabilitation. It's a comprehensive law which encompasses so many provisions for R&R and land acquisition, keeping the common man in view. So I strongly feel and prescribe that all the administrators should know to the core what they're handling, how the legal legislative framework is designed so that they can deliver results quickly and effectively.
Wonderful. For the benefit of our audience, starting, in one of his first postings as sub-collector of Nujveed in Krishna district, Mr. Babu had completed land acquisition for IIIT Nujveed, National Highway widening, Tiruvuru Rajavaram Road Airport expansion, Budameru irrigation project. And then as Joint Collector Srikakulam, I was going through, very impressive. He completed long pending R&R of Bamsadhara project, and he dismantled under his supervision, the administration dismantled 7,104 buildings in 22 villages and peacefully rehabilitated 35,000 people, project displaced people, as he was saying. So it's one thing to have degrees, and he has so brilliantly used it in effectively delivering administration. Such a great delight to know Mr. Chakradhar Babu. Thank you very much for that elaborate explanation. And this certainly is also a template for many new young IAS officers. Now, going to the next question, Mr. Babu, we have been talking about it. Nellore became the first district in the state to complete vaccination for the 15 to 17 age group children, totaling about 1.31 lakhs. A milestone indeed. It has also the distinction of first state to administer, first district to administer 100% first dose of vaccines to its eligible population. What is your inspiration? How do you go about planning these, and what is the team? What are the kind of efforts that is being put into achieving this? This may sound simple, but I know the kind of efforts it required.
Yeah, the day on which I have been posted as collector and DM in a district, actually the district is facing through the first COVID wave, where there are so many people dying for getting an admission in a hospital bed. While waiting for admission, while waiting for their results to be declared, people are dying. So that was a situation where government had immediately posted me. And my immediate task was to control the entire COVID pandemic while effectively utilizing the HR and the hospital resources available within the district. So immediately I had to set up new labs. Then we had scaled up the testing facilities, the infrastructure facilities within the hospitals. We had roped in almost 600 companies in the district to contribute towards CSR and to come for the rescue of the people. So we could bring down the mortality rate by effective means of curtailment, then containment, then also imposing lockdowns, selectively handling the containment zones. And from the place where we had started, the journey had been with so many difficulties and challenges. I must thank my efficient team who was there day and night working to see that the mortality reduces. So now, as we discussed today, the district is privileged to be the first in the state to have the best indicators, be it on the tests per million. We had conducted around 6.81 lakh tests per million. Similarly, the total positivity rate has been the lowest in the state. The recovery has been the highest with 99.13%. And the cumulative positivity rate also is the lowest. So almost every indicator we were performing well, because we had to streamline this mechanism of COVID management, right from the testing, contact tracing, then the hospitalization on 3-layered structure. One is the village level, where we had Sachivalayam system, thanks to our Honorable CM, who had created a unique experiment with so many young volunteers and young educated literates who are willingly working for the common man's upliftment at village and ward level. They were holding this testing campaigns. Then we had COVID care centers, then COVID hospitals. So while our entire team was busy with handling COVID, the vaccination came as a boon. The country is definitely privileged to have so many good scientists under the Honorable Prime Minister's leadership. We were the first ones to roll out vaccines by from the scientists of our own country. So this has been a very effective weapon to control COVID spread. So on 16th January, I still remember when the Honorable Prime Minister had launched this vaccination campaign. We have started off with our healthcare workers, all the doctors, paramedics, then supporting staff, Women and Child Welfare Department, all of them were vaccinated. I could mobilize and motivate all my staff towards complete inoculation. When there were so many doubts expressed, so many apprehensions in the minds of the practitioners themselves, we could convince them by experience sharing sessions on Zoom. We had made so many experts to talk on the experiments which had went into making this vaccine, the lab experiments, their results, from there to their personal experience after taking vaccine themselves, how has been their journey. And we could convince each and every person to take vaccine whenever their turn has been announced by the government. Then frontline warriors were started in February. And I have it I take it as a rare distinction and privilege that I stood as the first person to offer, to take vaccine myself. Then when the district collector himself took the first jab, almost every department, every functionary, right from village level to district level, they could get convinced that somebody is preaching what he had already practiced. So this has cut so many doubts. The ice-breaking session had been held with all the department HODs. I myself took 1 or 2 sessions on Zoom and WebEx because there was a COVID high wave going on. We couldn't have even open meetings with all the people. So it had convinced so many people that collector himself had took the jab. This is safe and people have to come forward. So from the stage of inhibitions and indifference, now it had been a most welcoming change. Everybody is lining up. They were registering for themselves for vaccination. So we could complete all the frontline warriors and healthcare workers. Then the government has started for 60 plus citizens. So there again, there are many people with comorbidities and critical ailments, chronic disease conditions. They were apprehensive. We could win over them also by panel of doctors addressing them, and we could give them reasonable replies why vaccination need to be taken, that too for people with so many chronic ailments. After that, started with, we had to keep sessions for women, pregnant and lactating women. Then there were so many doubts expressed there on fertility, on safe delivery, on women health. So there again, we had put women doctors as our torch bearers. When they started telling on the menstrual health and then reproductive health, then women started coming forward. After that session, we had gone for 45 to 60 age group. There again, there were so many doubts. So we had taken up extensive IEC campaigns in the villages, especially in all the religious institutions. I must thank all the priests, church pastors, fathers, and then maulas of masjids. So almost every faith and every trust, we could win over people by making the head speak to all of them. So in all the masjids and mosques, we had conducted vaccination campaigns on Fridays. Similarly, in Saturday, it was held in temples. On Sunday, we were there in the churches. So when the entire team had gone to the place where people are assembling for their religious practices, along with COVID appropriate behaviors, by observing distancing and all COVID norms, we have taken up vaccination campaigns. And one more aspect is on the planning of after effects. Thankfully, there was no after effects after vaccination. Not even a single death had been reported. So our team had taken up every precaution that is required for safe inoculation. So this has given us good results. Then we had to take up the challenge of covering all these migrants. So every Sunday we used to have vaccination camps, especially for migrants who have to come back from various states and districts. We had organized 8 such campaigns only to cater to migrants, and we had completed almost every person by taking a line list of each and every family and each and every person. We had gone even to villages, farm fields, then remotest places also with the COVID vaccine and maintaining the cold chain. So we reaching out to public had actually helped us. Instead of they coming to vaccination centers, we had opened up walk-ins through private hospitals, then through this village ward Sachivalayam, where ANM sits there in the village itself. We had sent doctors there, specialized trained practitioners. We had also taken the help of all these final year students, MBBS doctors, house surgeons. So entire machinery was roped in for vaccination. And as a result, we could cover all the 18 plus population. And we were the first district in the state and one of the first in the country to complete vaccination. Similar strategy we have adopted even for 15 to 17 age group. So all the children in the hospitals, then in the schools, hostels, wherever there is this age group children, we have already passed on messages to them through SMS. We have motivated their parents, teachers, taken help of all the student organizations, and we could complete entire vaccination within a record time of 3 days. Within 3 days, we have covered all the 1.31 lakh population of 15 to 17 category. And now we have started preparation for a preventive dose to our healthcare workers, frontline warriors, and 60 plus population. So there is around 3.4 lakh population in that category. So for them, we are going ahead for this preventive dose from Monday. And I'm sure within 3 days, that will also be completed. With a daily target of 1.1 lakh, we are completing vaccination on a very brisk pace. And this is also giving us good results. As we complete vaccination, my district has a population of 3.19 million. And my positivity is just 1.3%, which is lowest and amongst the lowest in the country. So we wanted to prevent third wave and also effectively control any spread of Omicron variant. So we thought and we believed that vaccination is the primary weapon which is available, apart from COVID appropriate behaviors like mask, distancing, and sanitation. So with this 3-pronged strategy, we are moving ahead. And vaccination is always remained my priority. Every week, I take up a district task force committee review, and we start with COVID vaccination as the first parameter to review all medical and health department teams. So this is giving us good results, and I'm sure we'll complete it within no time.
Excellent. That's a very elaborate sharing of your strategy as well as, and we see that innovations run through everything that you do. You were telling me the other day about how you're mobilizing women. So you started by also giving respect to women and use of technology, use of motivational aids in the way you administer. You mentioned, Mr. Babu, that it is always good that we are reaching out to the citizens. And that's been quite a welcome change, unlike the citizens chasing administrations and somebody like you leading from the front. Overall, how does it augur? And of course, you have the advantage of having a young chief minister. Now, I wanted to know your perspective on how do you see the shift, from when you were a student. You're very young, but even then the situation was very different. Then a new breed of IAS officers like you coming up, highly educated, very extremely motivated, using technology like, very, very effectively and though judiciously, and bringing about a paradigm shift in the way administration. My dear friends, for many such stories, you can watch us and follow us on Bureaucrats India. The handle is Bureaucrats IND. And we also are present on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and our website is called bureaucratsindia.in. We also have a handle, DCs of India, where we celebrate these stories of good governance like that of Mr. Babu's. Now, coming back to you, Mr. Babu, how do you see that shift happening, and how is it going to go further?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And I must relate my own experiences. As a child, as a student, as a college-going youngster, my interaction with all government offices had been fraught with many difficulties. There is information asymmetry, there is discretion, there is a delay, there is so much of unpleasant, embarrassing situations. Be it getting a passport verification done through a police station, or be it getting a certificate from a Tahsildar office. So all my experiences as a child, I had always thought that, as a citizen, if I'm a service seeker, if I'm being given this sort of treatment, when I become a service provider, I must rectify the entire system and make it citizen friendly. So I always believe in Gandhiji's talisman, which always places citizen at the fulcrum. And I wanted to bring that positive change in all the organizations. Wherever I have gone, I have attempted to make citizen-friendly service delivery. And definitely e-governance is one of the major tools. So we had utilized technology, and I, being the computer science engineer myself by education, I wanted to computerize many practices and processes, making G2C interaction more citizen-friendly. So all the portals, then databases, websites have been made citizen-friendly. People need not come to government office for their constitutional right. It's our bounden duty to provide them the services within shortest point of time, with all accountability, transparency, and responsibility in the system. So all my initiatives, wherever I was working, we could utilize the technology, we could leverage the best practices by taking all the people along. Definitely, it's not easy, as it is said. While you practice, you will understand the difficulties there. So government employees are also need to be sensitized on the objectives with which these systems are being introduced. So every time we take up an innovation, we need to take multiple stakeholder consultations, make them also part of the system, make them believe that this is going to change both the common man's life and also the employees' hurdles are minimized. So when they accept it on both the fronts, if there is a win-win situation, definitely innovation will be passed through. So when it comes to the rehabilitation, especially my previous assignment, I had rehabilitated 35,000 project displaced families. So that project is, if I can take 2-3 minutes, it's my own experience I'm sharing with you. The project is designed in 69, and from 75, it's under execution. And after 3 decades, in 2009, the land acquisition has been completed, and R&R they have attempted, but for 10 years, they could not complete. And 2019, I have joined there as a project administrator for LA R&R, and government is very keen that the project needs to be completed so that 6 lakh acres of land will be brought to cultivation. After 75 years of independence, we could do that. And that R&R is such a massive exercise. There was no information because the project execution time itself was spanning in 3 decades. So my first challenge was to codify all these processes, make the documentation ready to decide who is the PDF and who is not. There are many people who are genuinely suffering, and there are many vested interests operating there because of this information asymmetry. Middlemen have already started operating, and many legal litigations were there. So we could get hold of all the records whichever are available. Then we had gone to the village, tried with so many multiple meetings there, Gram Sabhas. I used to make night halls within the same village along with the project displaced families. Win over their trust, making all the efforts to verify their claims, then redress all their grievances and make a coherent database. Then we have identified and given project displaced family with a R card, where every displaced family will get all the entitlements as per the new act. Then we had followed online payments, then estimation of all the structures and land through geospatial imagery and using the Cartosat programmed for our notification date. So all these initiatives were made into one online system, seamlessly integrating all the processes of LA and R&R as per the new act. So this initiative had been given the National E-Governance Award at national level. We could win gold category in 2019. Beyond the award, my project was executed with without any law and order situation. People have willingly come forward to vacate their houses, go to their R&R colonies by accepting these packages, and they could see that there is no middleman at play, and they have believed the administration that we are working only for their welfare. So by bringing this paradigm shift from being a suspicious element to a person who is part of their family, the journey had taken around one and a half year time. So after 18 months of hard work and labor, we could complete the project, and the entire R&R episode had given us so much of confidence, and that had shown the district administration also that with the use of effective IT tools and technology, we can win over minds and hearts of many people, and difficult situations also can be turned to our advantage, and we can execute the projects. So with the same spirit, we are trying to streamline all the grievances redressal mechanism, and many initiatives are being taken up in my district also. As DM, I am happy to announce to you that today we have also taken up a total literacy campaign on a saturation mode. We have formed a database of 1.34 lakh non-literates, and we made them go through simple classes. For last 3 months, we have been holding these sessions in the villages. And today, as we discussed, today is the second Saturday, and we started with these evaluation tests. And by evening, around 1 lakh people are expected to pass this exam, and my district is going to stand in the top 10 for literacy. From 67-68%, we are trying to get into 90 to 94%. I believe that education is the primary catalyst of change. So all these old age people, then people who have missed out formal education and schooling, we are trying to bring them into development by giving them basic mathematics skills, language skills, and literacy campaign. So there also, again, this technology is being used, so we could identify each and every person. And evaluation is also happening through OAP, Open School Society. So this is again a good intervention and initiative from my district. With use of technology, we are bringing positive change in the lives of people.
That's so wonderful to know, because that was our next question. I'm glad that you have already answered it. And please let us know. We shall certainly, my colleagues are watching. So we have a team of professionals, and they will like to do a story as and when the results are out. Sure. We would like to celebrate that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I'll share the entire experience with you.
Yes,
yes. Have a good discussion on that.
Right. Before I ask my colleague to ask a few questions, I have another one. A few months back, Nellore had faced another crisis. Unprecedented floods in Penna River had wreaked havoc. And we understand that it had caused losses worth thousands of crore. Irrigation too was impacted. What was your strategy to deal with that crisis, Mr. Babu?
Yeah, this is a unprecedented situation actually, because otherwise generally this is a dry belt. The Rayalaseema region of Andhra Pradesh with 4 districts, Chittor, Kadapa, Kurnool, and Anantapur, and extended part of this Rayalaseema is Nellore. So these 5 districts usually have drought type of situation. But once in a while we receive cyclones also, because this is a northeast monsoon dependent region. Usually the entire part of entire state of Andhra Pradesh receives monsoon in southwest monsoon. But this part of area receives only northeast monsoon. And it's very rare that there are cyclones or floods. But last year, there is an unprecedented situation. Within 4 days, we had received very heavy downpour and low depression on the Bay of Bengal, which has wreaked havoc, and we had received around 200 TMC of flood in the district. So all the upper riparian, these 4 districts, whatever is the rainfall received there, it has to get emptied through river basin via Nellore into the Bay of Bengal. So there's a project called Somasilla with 78 TMC storage capacity. So all these inflows will have to be regulated from there. Apart from the district, its own rainfall, I had to even handle this inflows from the upper catchment. So in the period of 19th November to almost around 29th November, for 10 days, there's extremely heavy downpour. And all this flood we were regulating through effective management of all my gauges and the irrigation systems. Despite all our efforts, we had to open all the crest gates, empty all these floodwaters into sea by coordinating with around 7,000 people on duty. We had roped in police, fire, NDRF, SDRF teams, then all the village level functionaries, right from Sachivalayam to district. We had sleepless nights for 3 weeks, but thankfully we could avoid so many deaths, rescued so many people from floodwaters. 8,000 people were brought from within the water by using boats and many machines like JCBs, then trucks and tractors. We had taken up the help of Coast Guard, Navy, and also expert fishermen. After all these efforts of rescue, we had also to rehabilitate around 38,000 people from low-lying areas, because it's an immense flood coming up from so many areas. In the midnight also, many streams were full, tanks were getting breached, flood banks were eroded. We were getting flood waters in unexpected locations. Despite all our planning, we had seen flood almost in remotest areas also, where it was very difficult to even to send rescue teams. So we had taken even the help of naval helicopters. We had used them for rescue. So as a district disaster management team, and heading the team was definitely a challenge in itself. We had set up a control room at district headquarters. By using technology again, we could make so many forecasts well in advance. The Central Water Commission was giving us forecasts. The Sriharikota station within the district, there is a ISRO Sriharikota launch center. So they were giving us timely weather updates. Indian Meteorological Department is also giving updates. By collating all this information, we could plan where water is going to head, how this meteorological data is turned out into usable the inputs. We could get the flood maps made for all these river basins. And then we have taken up these massive evacuation drives, and all that has definitely helped us. We could save many people. 50,000 families were given special assistance under relief, and not even a single human loss. So this is definitely going to be a good case study for disaster management. We have updated our disaster manuals also, so that it will be helpful for the coming generations. And Central Water Commission had tweeted on that day that this Penna Basin had received highest flood on 19th November 1882. So that was again crossed in 2021. So after 150 years, such an unprecedented and a mammoth disaster had struck the district, but we could come out of it because of effective use of technology and also taking all the stakeholders along. The entire district as a team, we worked day and night. All our honorable ministers, public representatives, the honorable CM himself was reviewing on a daily basis with us. The entire state government had given immense support, and we could come out of it in no time. And every affected family had been given the relief and rehabilitation package. Also, we have sanctioned them houses. Around 650 houses were sanctioned, and they are under construction now.
Wonderful. Something that generally takes several states years to plan, you did within the span of few days, and that is remarkable. So whenever a disaster strikes, it generally shakes people's faith in government, because they cannot, it's sudden for them and they react in a certain way. How did you manage people's expectation during that time? Was there some certain amount of anger in them, or did you have to deal with some unusual situations?
So people were not believing that, when there's going to be a flood. When we actually take up rehabilitation, they cannot assess the situation because everything will appear normal for them. They'll think that it's just any other day with the rain. But we used to explain to them that, by this time, it will be 1 lakh cusecs. By this time, it will be 5 lakh cusecs. Like that, to make them understand, we made markings on the houses. We had shown them this will be the level of flood. If you don't move now, by midnight, flood will be at this level. So morning itself, we used to go to the village and explain to them that by night, this entire village will be under inundation. So it was difficult for us to explain to them, but we convinced them. We even at times taken to the villagers to the other village, making them explain that, yes, whatever district administration is doing is for our own good. We should support them. Yesterday, there was a rehabilitation in one village. Today, it's going to be in this village. So how we are going to explain to them is again a challenge. We have used the traditional knowledge of all these headmen. They were also relating their experiences when they had seen flood in their lifetime, 30, 40 years back. That narration had helped the people. So by convincing them, we used to go there with all the buses and vehicles. Most apprehensions were on their belongings. They used to ask, what will happen if everything gets washed away? What about my cattle? So we had made arrangements for safe deposit of their money, valuables with banks. We made banks to open temporary counters there. Then all these cattle were also separately shifted to cattle hostels. So when these two were moved out, they were happily coming out of their house with minimal requirements. And as expected, in the midnight, the entire village used to get flooded. The next day morning, they were convinced that, what the administration has done is for their own good. By keeping them in rehabilitation camps for 3 to 4 days, we have given them good medical and health facilities, food and other arrangements. After the water receded, they again went back to their villages.
All right, wonderful. You have managed several cyclones as well, many cyclones, I would say. What has been few of the learnings during those experiences?
So this district and also the state being coastal state, it had been a rare experience that almost every alternate year or every year there is some or other cyclone hitting the coast. There are 9 coastal districts in the state, and I had worked all along the coast. So I had seen personally many cyclones. The best part of the entire system is the technology. Now we have got such precision that we can predict when this cyclone is going to hit, what will be the intensity of the cyclone, where the eye will cross, how much would be the precipitation, what will be the velocity of wind, what can be the damage expected. So 3 to 4 days of advance notice is generally available. So these 4 days we work backwards. So to evaluate what will be the damage, what all will be the affected places, and how to rehabilitate them, how to quickly go to that village if after the cyclone is making the landfall. Immediately the relief and rescue teams have to rush to that village. So first we evacuate all these coastal villages where fishermen predominantly live all along the coast. We give warnings to them with red alerts. We make all the boats deck onto the coast. Then we concentrate on the low-lying areas if there is a flood because of the heavy rain. Then we open up all these cyclone shelters, relief camps. Then planning will go for road opening parties. Tree cutters will be placed. All these relief teams, rescue teams will be formed. with all the fishermen. Then life jackets will be given, boats will be placed. So there's a extensive pre-cyclone activities which needs to be done at a district level. So that is the crux of all disaster management. How much ever we prepare, that much would be the effective response. Once the disaster is struck, then the speed with which all these teams operate, that will be the key indicator. So if we save the precious lives, nothing like it. After the entire disaster is over, relief, then we take up enumeration, then distribution of these relief materials and compensation. So that will be the towards end. That can take some time, but major challenge would be rescue and translating the timely inputs into action. So as a disaster task force team, it had been quite a routine now. Almost every district is having a disaster manual. Everybody is trained on them. So once in a while, we take up training sessions, simulation exercises. So that will keep us confident, and we'll not get bogged down by the intensity of the disaster.
You have done extremely well in this field. Managing disaster has kind of become your expertise. You managed 2 elections as well during COVID time. Were any special arrangements made for that? And if so, what were those?
It's again a very rare experience. In fact, we lost one honorable MP for COVID only. He was affected with COVID during first wave. And because of so many multiple comorbidities, despite our best efforts, we couldn't save him. So he died in Chennai hospital. So immediately after death of a sitting MP, within 6 months, by-election is announced. So when the by-election has been announced by the Election Commission of India, we were going through second wave of COVID. So it was a challenging task. When there are so many cases, we need to take up so many precautions, right from training the election machinery, making them COVID compliant, and also make up so many arrangements at polling stations. The Election Commission had given extensive new set of instructions. So we had to set up 1,400 polling stations in addition to what we had before. So many auxiliary polling stations were created only to make the area more sanitized and to maintain the queue with the distancing. So the first time such extensive COVID-related instructions were issued from the ECI. All of them were followed. I was the returning officer for Tirupati Parliament by-election. So we had 7 assembly constituencies, around 5,000 polling stations. Many people were drafted for election duties. We had taken up vaccination again as a preventive measure. We vaccinated all the functionaries who were doing election duty. Then we gave them masks, sanitizers, and then so many equipments which are required for COVID. Also, there was an instruction on casting vote by COVID positive patients. So the commission had given 1 hour extra time for them to go and cast vote in a polling station. So we had to mobilize special ambulances. People were made to go in PPE kits. Doctors were there to supervise. So without compromising on the health and security of the polling personnel, every vote shall count. Everybody shall go there and exercise their franchise. So we made so many arrangements there. And there are also special instructions on casting of postal ballot. People who were with physical disabilities or people who are old aged, they were given facility of casting their vote through postal ballot. And the polling personnel will themselves go to the house, make up a temporary voting compartment in the polling station within the house, get the vote collected. All this process will be recorded with videography. Without compromising on the secrecy of vote, we have collected postal ballot from people with disabilities and old-aged voters. So there are many such first-hand experiences which were never there before. I had conducted many elections before, but this was special in itself because of COVID and the time in which this process was done. So After the entire election was over, counting was again a big challenge. By making counting halls, we have to give opportunity for candidates to come there. Each candidate should have an agent to be placed within the polling counting center. And to add to the surprises, we had 2 ballot units, around 32 candidates contesting in the parliament by-election. So each candidate can accommodate so many agents. So we had made elaborate arrangements for counting. We had made more than 300 counting halls with only 6 to 7 counting tables. Because again, counting staff should go there from the morning till evening. They have to work. They should not turn positive. So everybody was given face shields, masks, gloves, then PPE kits. Agents were made to sit like a, as they sit in a aeroplane. So every alternate person will be in PPE kit with the distancing. So with all those extensive arrangements, we could safely conduct elections. And Election Commission has also appreciated the efforts done by us. Our experience sharing. So ECI is one such organization which believes in issuing set of instructions with complete clarity. So all our experiences were shared with them, and many were forming part of this COVID instructions. And it is definitely a satisfying experience.
Compliments on that, and that is really wonderful here, because I've seen elections being conducted during COVID times, and the situation generally gets out of hand. As you said, your staff were always there for you whenever, in every situation. And the one disaster after another, did it take a toll over their mindset? And how did you keep them motivated to be there for you?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Appropriately, every week I make it a point that I communicate to them, I listen to their problems. We also have special grievance days conducted for employees. Generally, we only conduct grievance day for citizens, but we have started this program in the district. So all their personal problems also they'll share with us, and we make earnest attempts to redress their grievances. So this has definitely created confidence in them. They come to us in many stressful situations because they leave their family for work. Many of the situations where they don't even get to see their near and dear for days together. So all the genuine grievances, we generally take it on priority. All their establishment matters also, we resolve them on top priority. And every week we hold one review meeting along with experience sharing. So all the HODs are always constantly motivated. We also make them talk to their subordinates as well. So every Monday we use for the employee grievance and discussions. So whenever there are any issues, we take it as part of our duty. So this has made them more humane, empathetic towards people also. When their own problems are solved, they will be available for others' problems to be solved. So all my employees, generally, they work hard. If there are any 1 or 2 situations where we need to take disciplinary action on them, then also they support. If there is any erring official, if we take any stringent action on them, the others will not find fault with us. So we maintain discipline also, and also at the same time, welfare is also taken on priority. So the entire district, there is a camaraderie amongst all the departments. Around 35,000 employees are there across all departments. So we have formed so many WhatsApp groups. There are multiple forums where we share our experiences. We talk on best practices. We take their support. We explain them on the new schemes and guidelines, the rule positions. So we also conduct timely, regular trainings also to build their capacities. So all these initiatives keep a cohesion in the district. So which is definitely a supporting structure for delivery of results.
I'm sure many of the districts can emulate this model of serving their people. What is your view on usage of social media in civil administration? You use it very effectively, and how has it helped you in recent past?
Yeah, social media is a very fast emerging technology. I must say, within no time, it can send good messages to lakhs of people across the length and breadth of the country. Even you can get connected to many nations, spanning across time zones. So this is a very good, effective tool to communicate. So we have opened many channels, be it Twitter or Facebook or other social media platforms. So generally also technology is part of the life now. Everybody is having a smartphone. Every youngster is in Facebook or Twitter. So it's very easy to communicate to them. We have used this effectively for giving public calls, be it on disaster or during vaccination campaigns. So we generally send some messages there. It's immediately received by all the stakeholders. So we use social media tools to communicate and disseminate information on campaigns. It has given very good results. So in shortest time, we can reach out to many people.
Okay. Nellore recently received 2 national awards, one for PMAGY and another one for Safai Mitra Suraksha Challenge. Can you tell us a little bit about both the programs?
PMAGY is a program to bring comprehensive development in SC/ST habitations, where usually they were having critical infrastructure gaps. This program is intended to fill that and also to make citizens participating in the development program. So we take up Gram Sabhas. Certain villages are identified where they are lagging behind the social development indicators. So these villages are taken up on a comprehensive development mode. We make them only understand what is the requirement. Then as per the analysis, we come up with the development works that get sanctioned through PMAGY. And the other programs like NREGS and Mental Development Fund, then 15th, 14th Finance Commission grants. So all these will be dovetailed and comprehensive works get sanctioned, be it roads, sanitation, then drains, drinking water supply or electricity supply, then schools, Anganwadi buildings, overhead tanks. So whatever is the infrastructure need that has been identified by them, that gets sanctioned and it gets executed with quality inspections and timely reviews. So in this program, I'm happy to announce that my district is taken as a top performing district in the country. So we could bring meaningful facelift and change in the 64 villages which are identified under this program. All of them were now much better, faring well on many indicators when compared to the baseline study that was done before the implementation of this program. So for 1 year, we had put so many special officers for implementation of this. Each village we gave one industry also to adopt to them. We have also roped in CSR and other funds. So by dovetailing all the resources available, we could bridge these critical infrastructure gaps. So this has given us a national award. The second initiative is on the Safai Mitra Suraksha Challenge. This is in Nellore Municipal Corporation, where all the insanitary latrines were converted into hygienic conditions. Then we had an underground drainage made for the city. There are several treatment plants made. All the Safai Mitras who do so many jobs for us on a daily basis in the early morning, late hours, in the night. They take up road sanitation, sweeping of our households and cleaning up of drains. So those people, their welfare needs to be taken on priority. So for us, they come first. As I mentioned to you, we believe in delivering services through employee welfare and their development. So in corporation, we have taken up this challenge, and all the Safai Mitras were given so many protective equipments, then trainings, and all the underground drainage system. They were made into from manual scavenging. It was made into robo and machine-made, sanitation equipments. So by converting all these challenges into technology-driven solutions, we stood first in the country in Safai Mitra Suraksha Challenge. All the septic tank cleaners were also taken on board. We made an online portal for them. So everybody, whoever wants their latrine to be clean, they can call the corporation. We allot the nearest septic tank cleaner to them. So septage is collected without any miss. And that is again treated in a scientific process through our STPs. And by maintaining this entire chain of solid and liquid waste management, on one front, we make our city clean, healthy. On the other hand, we'll also dispose that without any unscientific means. So this end-to-end use of technology and welfare of Safai Mitras is identified as a best practice. And Government of India had given us a national award with 10 crore cash prize. So this entire money is also again used for development of the corporation only. And we have given a challenge again back to the corporators now. Now I am no more the special officer. We have conducted elections, and so all these corporators were given a second challenge to take it forward. So whoever makes it even better will get money from this 10 crores, and we take up development works there.
That's so wonderful. Sweta asked some very pertinent question. We are heading. Thank you, viewers, for watching. You're watching a special edition of BI Dialogue with very bright officer KVN Chakradhar Babu, DM of Nellore in Andhra Pradesh. A technocrat and bureaucrat, he has brought about incredible innovations in the way administration has been functioning. As we reach towards the end of the conversation, Mr. Babu, there are many who would want to become like you. So you are a role model for many. Now, there are questions arising in our minds. Who are your role model? Can we get to know about your personal life a little?
Yeah, my father and mother, I look up to them for guidance and motivation. My father was a retired Tahsildar. He always wanted to become an IAS officer, and we couldn't do that in his own career. So he had motivated me from beginning. So it's actually his dream which I'm living for. So he always guided me on the importance of empathy towards administration. So in all his career, he had seen many people coming to him with extreme suffering. So he had done a commendable job there, and he retired peacefully. So he wanted me to continue and give even a bigger platform for solving all these public grievances. So it has come naturally to me, and I also am privileged to have my supporting wife and two children. One is in third standard now, another is in first standard. They understand the importance of my time. So evening, I get to spend some time with them in the late evening. So right from 9 o'clock in the night till 12, we have family time. After that, again, my children go back to school in the early morning. So I get to see them only for 1 or 2 hours in a day, but still they are happy with it, and they support, and I take time to educate them. And it's a supporting family which is always there in the behind of your success. And also, I also am privileged to clear the exam in first attempt. In my first attempt, I got into IPS. There I served for 3 years in northeastern state of Assam. There I could get to see many people in a different context. All these experiences have helped me. So,
okay.
Yeah, sorry, I could not get the
No, you
last
were saying you're first allotted the Assam cadre?
Yeah. First, I was in IPS Assam cadre. From there, I got into IAS Andhra Pradesh cadre. It's my home state. So this is definitely a cherishable career opportunity. Many people, especially youngsters, should come to All India services and to government job, because it gives immense opportunities for them to be part of the national building. We are still a developing country. There's a lot of good work that needs to be done for our citizens to come up the social and economic ladder. And I believe that all these young minds, bright minds from IITs, IIMs, and other colleges, universities, they should definitely try for UPSC. And it's definitely a life-changing experiment, not only for you. You will also be a part of so many families. As a administrator, you just not head an office. You take the entire district along with you, and they look up to you in extreme hour of distress, like disasters or during elections or event management or health pandemic. There are so many opportunities also for development of drafting development plans for villages. We can do so much meaningful change. So I definitely suggest youngsters to take up this as a career option, and I also wish them very best. Definitely, if somebody is trying to reach out to us for their career guidance and all, we are more than willing to help them. Thank
you. Our parent company is called Grey Matters Communications, and as the director of that company, I get the wonderful opportunity to travel across the length and breadth of country. So from Assam to Andhra and everywhere. I have a personal question. So the sambar that I had in Hyderabad tasted very different. Of course, I'm a Hyderabadi sambar lover. Tasted very different from one I had in Coimbatore to the one I had in Thiruvananthapuram. I was very curious to know what is the difference. I like Andhra sambar, but what is the difference between the sambars of these three states or four states? I mean, Andhra and Telangana, they resemble, but
it's a very
just out of curiosity.
Yeah, very personal question actually. I also like all these delicacies what you have said, and Assam also you mentioned. There are many changes in lifestyles and food habits. Especially South Indian foods are with so many spices. So what are all the locally available spices? They make traditional recipes with them. So there's sambar powder which is made in AP is different from that of Tamil Nadu. And so that powder gets the change. Rest all remains the same. Dal and tamarind and all that is same. But this spices which they use, it's coming from generations. As a word of mouth, the women they make this powder by drying so many spices, and they preserve this as a niche for each household. Mm-hmm. So that gives that flavor and tinge and taste.
Okay.
So my mother also makes very good sambar. So we definitely relish that every second alternate day. So South Indians, especially Andhra and Tamil Nadu, they have this habit of taking sambar along with rice. And also, as you mentioned, Hyderabadi, that Hyderabadi biryani is also very famous.
Yes.
My college is also from Hyderabad. My NPA training was in Hyderabad. So it's like second home for us. So there, you must have seen the Mughal and Deccani traditions getting beautifully amalgamated in the form of
So, I recently was in Hyderabad and had I have been going there for many years now.
That Hyderabadi first time I could Hyderabadi biryani and halim, they are very special and unique. It even gets exported from here to Iran and other countries.
Oh yes, I have seen the kind of craze that.
The Pista House and other brands there are like now world class.
Galaxy is also there.
Yeah.
So I could also see the brilliance of the Charminar recently. I was there. Wonderful. I think look forward to being there and being your guest one of these days, sometime soon. You have brought so many laurels to yourself as an officer, to wherever you have gone. I'm sure as the year starts, you're going to be working on your next course of action, next innovation, next intervention, and next plans. What are some of the plans for 2022 before we sign off this wonderful conversation that we feel like we can go on and on? But
yeah, thank you. The pleasure is all mine. You have been very kind to us. You have asked so many questions and made us proud today by recollecting my own experiences. So in 2022, as I mentioned to you, I want my district to come out of poverty, then literacy, and we also are trying to go on extensive industrial development. So to give them employment, especially the youngsters in the district. This district is bestowed with one natural port at Krishnapatnam. Then there are many SEZs and industrial clusters, around 5,800 MSMEs and around 300 mega industries. So for me, on the top of my chart, I want to take these industries to next level. We are having Chennai-Bangalore Industrial Corridor.
We are witnessing some technical hiccups. You're watching BI Dialogue with KVN Chakradhar Babu, IAS and District Magistrate, District Collector of Nellore in Andhra Pradesh. And listening to his experiences as an administrator, his diverse education, his diverse training, and how he's integrating these training into what he does. We are experiencing some. Thank you very much, my dear friends, for watching this yet another edition of Bureaucrats India Dialogue. Bureaucrats India is an independent platform designed to bring out stories of good governance from bureaucrats across the length and breadth of country. Please follow us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Bureaucrats IND. We are available on Twitter, Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn by the name of Bureaucrats India at Bureaucrats IND. We also have a platform called DCs of India, and it's called DCs of India with mass following, where we bring about stories of good governance from across the country, which is helping us to celebrate these great stories. Over the year, over last few months, we have brought to you multiple stories of IAS. Last interviews we have been doing of last interview that we did was of ADGP Prisons of Punjab Police. Prior to that, we had Mahinder Singh Tanwar, who was the Municipal Commissioner of Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation. And we thank you for watching and being there all the time. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, like our page on Facebook and Insta. And we close this edition of Bureaucrats India by saying Jai Hind. Thank you.